So
you see how much rain's out there?
It's not raining at all right now.
Well, it was on the way here, and there was so much water. I don't know how much water. How does it get on the road that fast? I mean, it rained for like 15 minutes this morning, and then it looked like everything was flooded. It was just such heavy rain, I guess.
Yeah, no, I didn't. In Jackson, it did not. I didn't have any rain. I actually went out to Raymond. I had to go out to the jail this morning to do some meet some clients, and there was no rain that way. But when I came up 49, it was started hitting. I heard it's gonna. Though the good news about that, though, I looked at the weather forecast, and tomorrow the high is 76. Whoever thought we'd be in a position where 76 would be the high? I'm just used to the high being 1 degree of hell. It's kind of what we are dealing with lately.
Yeah, it's been so hot, but I mean, it's been feeling a whole lot better the last couple of days. It's been, Mississippi has those days that are just perfect, but there's only like 2 of them a year.
Right.
That's what it seems like anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, it's well, I guess enough about the weather. This is not the Weather Channel, but we did discuss that. Anyway, we're gonna into obviously the mass shooting, the horrible mass shooting in Minnesota yesterday that occurred at Ascension School. Is that the way?
I don't know. I have no idea how you pronounce it. Just a Catholic school in Minneapolis.
Okay. All right. Well, there was yet another school shooting in the country that we've had so many over the years. And another one happened in Minnesota. Minnesota actually, unfortunately, has been a ripe for a lot of violent shootings the last 24 hours. Apparently, there was a lot of shootings in Minnesota.
Well, I mean, when you have a governor that thinks boys need tampons, there's probably just a lot of bad things going on in the state.
Yeah, I mean, so there's been a bunch, and then of course there was the legislators that were killed back in June. That horrible murder that we had there too. So Minnesota's been a violent summer for them. Unfortunately, they've had a lot of problems, and this being the worst. Obviously, when you see, I believe it's an 8 and 10-year-old student was killed. I think 13 or 14 others were injured. What I listened to this morning though is that those ones are apparently going to make it. That the police were saying that they're in good condition, according to what I just listened to on the way over here. So that was really, really welcome news to hear that. But
yeah, but I mean, any loss of life is too many lives lost.
No, absolutely. But I'm just glad it's not more. I mean, especially like when you're dealing with grade school children, it's reminiscent, obviously, of the Sandy Hook massacre that happened back in 2012. That was probably in my opinion, one of the most horrible crimes in the history of the country. The mass murder of all those children out there in Sandy Hook.
Yeah, absolutely horrible.
And that's luckily, and I'm
Uvalde. How many were killed in Uvalde?
I don't remember off the top of my head. That's another school
an elementary.
The elementary in Texas from 2022. That shooting. So yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure how many were killed. It's just the kind of depravity it takes to go into anywhere really, but small children, the murder, it just feels worse than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have their whole lives ahead of them, and they're at school where they should be safe, and where they should feel safe, and where parents should feel like it's a safe place for them to be.
So and anyway,
yeah, I did the show about, I don't know if you listened to the whole thing. I did the whole show about it yesterday because it was just my heart was so heavy with it all having just happened when I came in here yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody, when you see something like that, it's just so horrific because you can't imagine that anybody could just kill small children like that indiscriminately. And he's trying to kill more. Like 14 other people got shot. I think some were adults too, but it's just unimaginable. And so I just really, really pray for those people's families because it's just I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah, terrible. Absolutely terrible. There needs to be more done, and I don't know how to make that happen. The right and the left want to argue about, who the shooter was or what the shooter's sexuality was. And, the left wants to argue about gun control and gun violence. And neither are really putting solutions out there that can stop this in the future.
Yeah, I think, I guess, Lindsey, I mean, at the end of it, I think you never had this conversation. I mean, we've been seeing each other for about 2 years now, and we've had how many school shootings have been in that time? Tons of them. And it's the same conversation that people have had ever since Luke Woodham, Columbine, in the late 1990s. We don't ever do anything. Nobody does anything. I mean, that's kind of that. I mean, I'm not Nostradamus or anything, but I bet nobody will do anything.
You talk about how sad you are for a few days and how terrible it is, and then it's on to the next thing and it's forgotten.
And that's
the way it feels anyway.
No, I mean, I don't think it's just the way it feels. I think it's factual. I think there's nothing that ever gets done whatsoever. we have thoughts and prayers. The left argues about gun control. The right argues about mental health or whatever else it is. And Zippo gets done on either fronts. I mean, if it's mental health, then let's put all the money in mental health. We don't ever do that, though. That's not something that we do. And we don't have any actual solutions that are going to work that we ever put forward that anybody actually tries to implement. We just say, man, this sucks. And so, like, if you're a parent and you got children, I mean, what do you do every day? Do you just fear that they're going to get shot at school? I mean, I bet you do. I mean, like,
Yes.
because
it's my big, I have nightmares. I mean, it is something I think about all the time, is getting that message. I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't get a call from the school because they can't sit there and call everybody's parents when this happens. But I mean, it's like hearing some kind of breaking news, or somebody call me and say, hey, did you hear what's going on at the school? Or getting some sort of message from the school district saying, hey, there's been an active shooter situation at your child's school. I can't imagine. It sickens me. I read something somebody had posted on Facebook, and I thought it was really good. It said, to the mom in Minneapolis today who ran barefoot toward the school, shoes in hand, fear in her heart, millions of moms around the world were running with you. We may not know your name, but we know your soul, because every mom saw themselves in you today. That desperate sprint, the shaking hands, the prayer that their child is safe. You ran toward the unthinkable, because that's what moms do. Love makes us run through fear. And while you carried your shoes, you carried the weight of every parent who has ever whispered, please do not be my baby. We shouldn't have to run like this, not in our neighborhoods, not to our children's schools. Yet here we are, another day, another headline, another broken piece of our hearts. But please know this, you weren't alone. Every mom, every dad, every human who still believes children deserve safety and innocence, we were running with you. That was really good.
Man,
and that's what I felt yesterday. I mean, I felt that.
Yeah, and it just also made me kind of think what I was just saying. But that's just really nice. But that's what we do. That's all we do. We say nice things. You know, that's what we do. Our leaders, Republican or Democrat, do absolutely nothing, and we'll continue.
They'll have some big fight over gun control, and the right will be angry, and the left will have protesters, and they'll show up at the Capitol with all their signs and talking about how terrible guns are.
Mm-hmm. And then,
if somebody wants to kill somebody, bad enough, they find a way to do it with gun or not.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's the default, left position is some more gun control, which I think what they don't understand about that is that it's just we're too far with gun. This is not going to be Switzerland ever. You know, we're not that kind of European country where we're just not going to have guns. They're here to stay. You just, that's just the.
Well, it's unconstitutional to change that,
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have to repeal the Second Amendment. That's not going to happen. All the fear mongering about that is always.
And all the money poured into it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Let's pour that money into keeping our schools secure.
Well, even if you did, let's say you repeal the Second Amendment, people are still going to get guns here. It's not going to end the problem.
Right.
So it's not. This is not. We're
just
not.
Like I'm sure there are people who still have abortions.
I mean, drugs are illegal too.
People get drugs all the time.
I mean, it's not going to stop people being able to access weapons. So that's not a solution. And then the right always wants to come up with these. I call them like political platitudes, and they do nothing either. They do say, you hear every one of them. I saw yesterday, mental health. Okay, well, where's the money for mental health? I don't see any money for that.
Well, Mississippi is about to spend $16 million on it that I'm not happy about.
Right. I thought actually that was good. There was one thing I did say that Tate Reeves was actually going to put some money into that.
Obviously. Well, no, that's COVID dollars.
Well, wherever, at least it's some kind of effort towards this, because we're not going to do any gun control, and I don't think gun control is going to work. So I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying we're going to do that. Well, let's work on the other things. Mental health. Well, we don't ever do that. So then the number one thing, the one I think that is most practicable, is school security. I think that's the most practical solution that we could all everybody could get behind. But the problem is that I hear both sides argue over that. The left will say like, oh, well, that's just more police. And the right will say, I don't want, my freedoms are restricted. Okay.
I don't give a damn about your freedoms when we're planning funerals for innocent children in elementary school.
I mean, the numbers I got right here are 2024. There were 39 school shootings resulting in injury or death. As of August 27th of this year, 2025, there have been 8. So this is not going away.
No.
And I used to think we were a country that when we have a problem, we attack it. We try to. That used to be kind of what Ronald Reagan said, shining city on the hill, hope, all this stuff. We're supposed to attack problems, not just say, okay, well, there's no shooting. Let's do nothing. Let's argue about it. Everybody jump to their political sides and make political points about who did it and this and that. And that's all that ever happens. And then I get in 2 months from now, we'll be talking about some other kids that got killed. I will guarantee that's going to happen. Unfortunately, but that's because until people, you said something I listened to on the radio yesterday. That was a really good point. I thought there was all this outrage over Cracker Barrel's logo, right?
Mhm.
Their logo is changing. And look, I'm not even hating on people that love Cracker Barrel. That's fine. I have nothing against Cracker Barrel personally. I haven't been there in many years, but there was all this outrage. And hey, the outrage got the logo, them to go back. Hey, so I guess that worked, right? Well, can we put that
Why
in?
does it matter? Why
Well,
does it matter what Cracker Barrel's logo is? Now, had it been a logo with like a drag queen on it,
yeah,
that would be woke.
but even
But I don't understand the problem with just changing their I mean, companies change their logos all the dang time.
yeah, it happens all the way, all the time through history. They change them over I mean, football teams change their logos. The New England Patriots logo looked different in 1985 than it does today. The Miami Dolphins.
It doesn't make them woke.
I mean, yeah, they changed their logo like 10 years ago. Everybody, that happens a lot.
I thought that was just silliness.
Yeah, well, it is. I'll be put this way: even if it was woke, which it wasn't, it still is not impacting people's lives.
No, we have things that matter that we
Right.
need to be working on.
And people just got on this uproar, some issue that they got outraged about for a week that has no impact on anybody's life, but they won't get outraged about this and all the continuous. Maybe because people are just numb to it at this point. I don't know, but I guarantee this will die down in like 2 to 3 days, and we will not see the matched outrage for the Cracker Barrel logo as you do for people's kids getting killed continuously. By the way,
You
we
know,
won't
a
see
question that keeps going through my mind that I wonder if maybe could have changed the outcome of yesterday. If this shooter, Robert, this boy,
right?
had he had parents who refused to affirm him and go along with these lies and realize that he has some problems that we need to get some help for, and gotten him the help that he obviously needed. He needed help. There was obviously something very wrong. I wonder if we would have seen the same outcome yesterday.
Well, I mean, I think that's in anything, not just transgender people. I think it's in any mental. I mean, the guy in Oxford, Michigan, the white guy that shot up the school. I mean, his parents, they wouldn't got prosecuted. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if they had not given that kid a gun, I mean, there's a lot.
But
I think
they prosecuted those parents. So that's
They
what
did.
I'm saying.
They did.
Should these parents, I mean, of course not, because it's accepted in today's society,
Mhm.
but I feel like these parents did him a disservice when they should have been getting him help. They went along with his lies. And if they could have gotten him help then, and they should be held accountable, they knew there was a mental illness because he told them, I feel like I'm a girl. So they know something's not right. Shouldn't they have to get him some sort of help?
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think I don't know if it's required under the law or anything, but I think as good parents, that would be the way to do it. I think I'd also like to know this. Well, he is over 21 years old, wasn't he? Like 23.
23.
I mean, so how did he access all these guns anyway?
He
Did his
bought them
parents-
himself.
He bought them himself. Is that the
Yes.
way? So, okay,
Mhm.
well, he can legally do that.
Right.
So, I mean, there's not much you can do there.
And now that I guess he is over 21, I don't know how you would prosecute the parents at this point.
No,
But
that's not their fault at that point.
and obviously, it's legal to or say that you're transit, whatever they do.
I mean,
transition or-
had he actually transitioned, or was he
They
just
had legally
saying-
changed his name, and his mom had to sign off on
But
it.
did he
on the
go through
papers.
like the actual?
Oh, I have no idea. He
procedure?
didn't look like it. He looked like a boy straight up to me.
Okay, so you're just a guy with a girl's name kind of thing. I got you. It wasn't the actual like post-op transgender.
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think so. Now, I don't know for sure, but I don't think so.
Well, I mean, that's kind of different than the Oxford, Michigan, where that kid, I think, believe was in high school, and this guy is a 23-year-old man. So I don't know, the responsibility kind of shifts off the parents at that point as much as it does a high school student, I would think. I think that's the one thing that'd be the different, issue you're dealing with.
Well, I wonder if it had happened though before he became of age, and we didn't have a society that was so accepting of these lies. I feel like in some
Yeah,
way the
that's a
parents should have
different-
been held accountable.
We'll get to that, and also I want to talk about the role of the internet plays in this a lot, and how that exacerbates a lot of these situations. It's a really interesting argument I heard on Breaking Points earlier. We'll be right back on the Lindsey Beckham Show. Stay tuned in. We are discussing the horrible Minnesota school shooting that happened yesterday that has captivated the entire nation, and we were going into solutions that we know that nobody will listen to and nobody will implement because we've been here before time and time again. There were 39 school shootings in 2024. There's another 8 as of yesterday. These are ones that resulted in injuries or death. Does not include there's actually more school shootings than that. Just nobody got shot or injured, luckily. But Lindsey, and we discussed how there'll never be a solution for any of this. That's kind of seems to be.
Well, there's a solution. I mean, you
Yeah.
can fix it. If you wanted to fix it, you can fix it. I mean, I don't really hear of any gunmen walking into our state capitol during the legislative session and shooting up our legislators, our lawmakers.
No, and you made a good point on the radio yesterday. You said that like after 9/11, we really put some action into this.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
really
at the
did.
Capitol, they have security guards at every door. They have metal detectors. They do things to keep our lawmakers safe. They did things to keep our airports safe after 9/11.
Right.
You're telling me you can't do that in a school? That's bullcrap. That's BS. Yes, you can. You can do that in a school if you wanted to.
And I think after 9/11, there was the one with the shoe bomber guy, Zarqawi. But after that, have we had a plane hijacked? I don't think so. I can't remember. I have to look that up. I don't believe, as far as my recollection goes, I don't think we have. So yeah, obviously a lot of that protocols were working in terms of airport security. So I don't know why we have not. And we've had a lot more. I mean, that was obviously a horrible incident that day. Of course, the magnitude of it goes without saying. But you're having 30 to 40 school shootings a year in the country now where this is happening, and we don't do anything about it. And that's I don't know why. And I guess maybe kind of tacking on what you said about 9/11, maybe after 9/11, both parties were kind of united into doing something. If you
Well,
remember
that's what I think should happen here. I
Yeah.
don't think it should matter what side of the aisle you're on or what party you support. I think these are innocent children, and if they don't deserve protection, who does? Like,
Right.
if that doesn't deserve money to be thrown at it, I can't imagine what does. There's nothing to me that is as important as this.
It's hard to think of something like
Yeah.
other than public health. This I guess falls into it. Safety, public health, safety. Like seems to be that's the core functions of government is public safety. Definitely, I think that would be especially when it's something like we're children required to attend school and we're not protecting them.
I
And
said that
that's
yesterday. I said, you'll go to jail if you don't send your kids to school and you don't have the means to homeschool them or put them in some sort of program. You'll be in truancy court.
Yeah.
But you have to hand your child over for 8 hours a day and then be worried sick that they're going to be gunned down in the hallways of their school. It's gross.
And this is a problem that our parents never really had to deal with. Well, more towards the end of our like great high school years. I graduated high school in 1997, and that was I think the fall of that year is when Luke Woodham happened, if I remember correctly. And then you or no
Yeah,
03.
yeah,
And so you had kind of seen like
Columbine, yeah.
That just kind of started up towards the end of like while you were in high school.
Yeah, it seemed to be like they were happening back to back all of a sudden.
But it's not something that I think our parents probably thought of the way parents must think about today. It's not
something I thought of going to school either,
no.
but it's something that my kids think about.
Right. So that like everybody, so other than like learning and trying to get ahead and doing all those things that you got to do and all the social problems that you have, people have in school and that kind of those ages, you also got to worry about getting shot.
Right.
And that's insane. And
one thing Madison County schools did this year is they've got a much stricter cell phone policy. So the kids can't have their cell phones out. Now, I go back and forth and debate my own self on the cell phone issue because I believe obviously parents know their children better than anyone else, and they should be the ones making the decisions for their children. I think parents know or should know when their child is mature enough and can handle a cell phone. It's been different.
I agree with that. I think that's up to a parent. Like I think though whether they're in school or not is up to the school policy.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
of course. But I go back and forth in my mind about whether or not schools should allow kids to have their cell phones during class because of this. This is the reason why there's a part of me that wishes they would let my child keep her cell phone on her, because if this happens, I want her to be able to call me.
Is there and you know this obviously more than I would, can they have them like in their book bag and just off? I mean, that seems that that's adequate.
Of course, I got a text yesterday from one of Mia's teachers that said, I'm having trouble with Mia getting her phone out.
Because she's used it in class.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, we all would do
course.
that. You can't just hate on Mia. All of it, I would have done that. You would have done that. We try to sneak a text or whatever. That's normal.
We wrote notes back in those days.
Yes, we did.
And passed notes.
But that's normal kid stuff, and I get it. But I mean, I think if the two teachers are supervising them and they pull out and they're sitting there like scrolling Facebook in the middle of the class, they say, "Hey, I'm taking your phone." They can do that.
Right. Well, I mean, that's distracting. And then the part that I love about the schools not letting them have the cell phones is that they can be focused on learning and not the drama, because there's always so much drama going on, especially with middle school,
middle-aged people too.
Yeah.
That's true. Middle school and high school.
Middle school and high school kids, there's so much drama, and they can't get away from it long enough to let their mind settle down to be able to focus on absorbing what they're hearing and learning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, well, that's what I think, like in a controlled environment, if they're not allowed to use the phone, but they have it in case, because I'm with you, if something breaks down, it's good to have the kids with the cell phones. They can make calls and somebody can. I think that's a good thing. But
But
just
yeah,
say,
a
hey,
lot of
it's always in your book bag. If it's not, you're getting, I don't know, whatever you get in school these days, demerits or whatever you
right.
call
Well,
them.
I mean, that's how it is here in Madison, but there are a lot of school districts across the country who've banned cell phones
Oh,
completely.
right. I think you told me that.
Yeah, and so that's been a hot topic because, while probably education increases when you don't have that distraction, there's this issue
Hmm.
where a gunman could walk in your child's classroom and they have no way to contact you.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some parents who literally the only reason they got to tell their child goodbye before their child died was because their child had a cell phone.
Yeah, I know. I think we're in agreement on that. I think it's fine as long as like it's controlled. They can't take it out in class, and it's emergency purposes. I guess would be the best way to put it. Like it's an emergency purpose. They can bring it out. I think that's fine. But that also relates to what you and I always talk about in terms of the security of the schools. If you had adequate security, then the kids needing to use an emergency cell phone would be a very rare occurrence under that thing. But the problem is we don't. We don't have that. It's very lax at schools across the country,
Mhm.
evidenced by how much this happens. And it's because, I mean, it's quite frankly, we just don't want to put the money behind it. Nobody wants to put the
Exactly.
money, and like a lot of that's going to come from the local school district, I assume. I'm guessing this would be some kind of thing where there could be groups like yours, especially, would be able to do some national efforts for some federal funding for this.
Look, I
Like,
don't care where the money comes from. There are so many places that we spend money, that government spends money.
Mhm.
I mean, first of all, as many school districts as we have and as many high paid superintendents, that we
Yeah,
don't need nearly that many. They don't need salaries that are hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, more than our governor makes, these
yeah.
superintendents make in Mississippi. Cut that mess. Cut that mess out and put more protections in place. There needs to be somebody at every single door of every single school.
Like the guy we talked about, the Corinth school superintendent, he was making
Mhm.
what, around $250,000 a year,
Yeah,
something crazy like that.
yeah.
I mean, can we take some of that money for the school superintendent? I'm sorry, Kingfish and I got in this debate. I think we were on covering the show one day. I just think if you're a public servant, $250,000 is a bit excessive. Like, get in private business. That's a lot. To me, that's a lot of money.
And if
But
you really care about these kids, it's not gonna matter if you're not making $250,000.
yeah, generally people don't get into education because they want to be rich. Like
No,
that's
it's
not
because they have
something.
a heart for
Yeah.
children.
And and then I do want to, when we get back on after the next time, I want to get into the Guardian Act stuff, and we probably have a debate on that, feel differently, and I'm sure that'll rile people up, my positions on it. But that's what we've done, though. We've passed like these band-aids, I
Yeah,
call
and
them.
that's what I said yesterday. I said
Mhm.
it's not an end all solution to this problem.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's kind of an issue, why we immediately go to the band-aid, but we don't go to the actual something that would make a real difference, like the increased security in them, and security guards, metal detectors. We mentioned before, Jackson schools, do they ever have a school shooting in the school? I think
I'm
you looked
scared to
this
say
up.
anything, knock on wood,
Mhm.
because I told you and Clay this last night. I said, I feel it in my gut that there's going to be something happen in one of these school districts, like Madison or Rankin, one of these well-to-do school districts. Something is going to pop off and happen if we don't do more.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back to that next time. We'll talk about teachers with guns. Lindsay was instrumental, I think, in that, and I have an opposite position, which apparently nobody
Of
agrees with me
course
in
he does. Of
Mississippi.
course he does.
But we'll discuss that on next time. And y'all tune back on the Lindsey Beckham Show. We'll be right back.
He does. Of
Mississippi.
course he does.
But we'll discuss that on next time. And y'all tune back on the Lindsey Beckham Show. We'll be right back.
1039 WYAB.
Friday night lights, family, and a hot Johnny's Pizza House pizza on the table. Now that's our kind of hunt. Make it a swoop-to kitchen and bring everyone together. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Here in the South,
We're back on the Lindsey Beckham Show, discussing the school shooting in Minnesota yesterday that has captured the nation's attention, unfortunately, with the deaths of two small children, 8 and 10, as well as, I think, the shooting of 14 other people. It's just a horrible thing. And we're discussing the possible solutions, causes. We've come up with many solutions that will never be implemented, Lindsay, we know, and we'll just be back here in a few months talking about another one, unfortunately, because until our elected leaders decide to get off their butts and do something about it, but I'm convinced that they don't want to, and that till both political sides maybe try to come to a post-11 détente and say that this is an issue that
Post
affects
11.
post 9/11, excuse
Oh.
me, like détente, and
What's
kind
a
of
détente?
detente like agreement.
Stop
piece.
using words I don't understand.
Okay, get a thesaurus, Lindsay. I'm sorry, but the
Yeah,
use
I asked him this morning.
ChatGPT.
I asked him how he slept last night. Do you know what he said? What he said back to me? He didn't say anything. He sent a graph of what his phone or ChatGPT or
It's
his
my Apple Watch.
Freaking ridiculous. Can't even talk to you.
I got some more figures for you too in a minute too. When we get into this issue, but
Ah.
so this one solution we haven't talked about, Lindsay. I'm going to let Lindsay set this up because she was part of it. The what's it called? The Guardian Act.
The Guardian Act. It was implemented in Florida right after Parkland, the Parkland school shooting. And what it does is it allows any faculty or staff member of schools in the state to be allowed to carry on campus. They will receive a small stipend. I don't actually know how much it is, but they go through a training process and it's all voluntary. It has to be something they want to do, but they can do. And we passed this legislation, I believe 2 sessions ago. Jill Ford, my representative, worked on it, and we implemented that. I know it wasn't the following school year, but it should be implemented at this point. Maybe it was 3 sessions ago. But I remember Shaun Tyndall, my favorite person, spoke at one of our Madison County Republican women meetings. And this was after we had passed the legislation. And I asked him, because when he was speaking, he had commented on the fact that this is something we're doing. And I asked him, how many teachers have we trained? How many teachers have opted in? How many teachers have been through the training?
Yeah.
And then he backtracked and said, "Oh, well, actually, we haven't trained any yet. We're trying to perfect the trip." Of course,
How long ago was that?
BS. That would have been like a year and a half ago, maybe.
So have any teachers since that time gotten trained?
I believe so, but I do not know the
You don't
numbers.
have
No, they're
numbers on
not
that yet?
allowed to say, what teachers are.
Well, no, not specifically,
But-
but are they able to give you is there any
I haven't
numbers?
seen the data. I have not.
So we don't know whether it's 5 or 50.
This may be the first year that it's actually the program to train has been put together and that they've been able to do it. So I don't know if they're releasing the numbers yet. I haven't seen the data on it yet. No.
Okay. I mean, because the way I'm looking at it, the numbers I've looked at is that, so they've done several surveys on this nationwide, whether teachers want to be armed. And I mean, they took a poll of about 3,000 teachers where 73% opposed arming teachers and 95% said carrying a gun should not be part of the job.
Well, and it's not. That's what I like about our bill, because it's voluntary. Nobody's being forced to carry. It's if you want to carry. Now, I helped as much as I could with this legislation because I do think that if you have a shooter who wants to go in and shoot up a school and they know that there's a school here where teachers are carrying and you don't know which ones, and there's a school over here where no guns are allowed on campus, which school are you going to go to?
I mean, I guess if you're one of those mass shooters where maybe you planned out and know there's teachers, I assume most of the mass shooters are kind of scoping out what they're about to do. It seems like a lot of them are planning.
I think even just
so you're thinking they're not going to attack a school if the teachers are armed.
Or I think it would be less likely. Yeah.
I guess my question, I have a lot of questions about this.
It's a Band-Aid.
Well, it seems to me like why is this even thought of as a solution? And because teachers are not trained to be security experts, law enforcement. I mean, maybe some of them have served the military before that are now elementary school teachers or high school teachers. But I mean, they don't have any of that kind of training. And now we're above their education duties and all the kind of stuff that we do for that. They're now like, hey, why don't you guys carry a gun? I mean, it seems like.
I think this is what Rick Scott came up with when he couldn't get everyone to agree to throw all this money into safety measures and to make schools more secure after Parkland. And this was his, let's attempt to do the next best thing. Let's give teachers, if they want to, let's give them a weapon so that they can protect their students in their classroom.
And also, I mean, if I'm the teacher, I'm thinking about my liability too. Am I going to get sued?
I don't think you're thinking about that when a gunman comes in your classroom.
No, you're not. But I'm talking about carrying a gun in the first place.
But
what are the guns?
there's
an accident and you don't know what happens. I mean, there's potential liability that you're looking at there. I think that's a problem for that. If I'm just saying, if I'm the teacher before, I'm not talking about, if there's a gunman and you got a gun, I get it.
But that's what's going through their minds all the time. Some of these teachers that have, lived close to where these school shootings have taken place, like they're thinking that all the time. What am I going to do if it happens to me? What if they walk in my classroom?
Right, which I assume they want the state to provide them more adequate security for the schools, not for them to be SEAL Team 6.
Well, when you can't, can't get a big group of lawmakers to agree on it.
I mean, overwhelmingly though, they're opposed to doing this. It seems like every survey that I've been reading through has said overwhelmingly they're opposed to doing.
Well,
this.
They don't have to. The ones that do want to can, but nobody's being forced. They don't have to.
Okay. I mean, is that
You just want to argue with me on it?
No. I mean, I disagree with it. I think it's a cop out. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's
I think it's better than nothing.
I think it's making a profession that has nothing to do with law enforcement, pushing them into that capacity. When do we do that with any other job that's out there? I mean, does the movie clerk carry a gun? Does the grocery store person do that? I mean,
but no,
why
but
is
the,
it like
but the movie
somewhere-
clerk and the grocery store person aren't in. They don't have other people's children in their possession.
But I mean,
this is a different story. Like
but-
they are in that classroom, they're supposed to protect those children. Like they feel like it's their job to protect those children in that classroom.
But mass shootings happen everywhere. There's been several at supermarkets. One at the I talked to you about earlier, the Buffalo supermarket shooting 2022. That racist guy that went and tried to shoot a bunch of black people. I mean, are the clerks supposed to carry guns? Like,
nobody's
part of
gonna
their
go.
job. I just think that like
Nobody's going to jail if you don't go to the grocery store, though. They'll send you to jail. If
Yeah,
you
but
don't
I mean,
send
you
your
got to
kids
go there to
school.
eat, and so I think it's all susceptible to mass
Instacart.
shootings. You can Instacart it, right? Well, I mean, I just think that's you have to. There's places that other jobs where people are not carrying weapons, and now we're.
But I mean, anybody can carry a weapon with them in the grocery store, I guess. Because don't most states have concealed carry?
I think a lot.
So
of
if that's what you want to do, you can. I just think it's different when we're talking about kids here.
Okay, I mean, and so we're gonna, but that's our idea of the line of defense is like Megan and the lunch lady. I just feel like it's ridiculous.
I don't know why you always call the lunch lady Megan. I've never
well,
met
I said
a
Megan
Megan
and the lunch lady.
I've never met a Megan in
well,
my life.
I mean, it seems like such a ridiculous proposition. Like, and to say like
I
we're
think
gonna.
it's smart. I think it's better than nothing, and I think it does give another layer of.
But how about we
protection.
don't do nothing? How about we give them money to have some actual trained security? Like, how about we do that?
I
Because those people
agree.
are trained to do it. But like, you're having somebody that got their education degree, and now, hey, why don't you go take a 3-week course on how to shoot? And now there's an active shooter, and you're going to repel him. I just feel like that's, I mean, why don't I take a high school student that's in a mock trial competition and get him to represent one of my clients?
tell you
he's
what,
not going to do that either.
If it's one of my kids, I'd rather them be in a classroom where their teacher's carrying. That's just how I feel. My kids are in that room. I'd rather that teacher that's teaching my child have a gun on her or him that can stop an intruder at the door before they get to
Someone
my
that
kid.
has absolutely no training in doing that could end up
They know how
killing-
to point and shoot.
Well, and they could end up pointing and shooting one of the kids too. I mean, that's my problem. They're just not trained to react in those scenarios whatsoever. And that's the idea that we come up with is that, which you even agreed is a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid.
A Band-Aid that could potentially hurt people too. Let's mind that. Now, there's been a good example.
We haven't seen that happen.
We haven't seen that happen, but we have how many examples of I think in Parkland there was a teacher that actually did repel a student with a gun. Was that right?
I believe so.
Am I right about that?
Go back and
I don't know
look.
what the other exammes are,
Well,
but there's no data, and I looked this up this morning, that it actually prevents any school shootings either.
Well, I mean, have we seen a school shooting where one of the teachers has actually gone through the Guardian Act program and is carrying? I don't know that we've seen
I
that
have to
yet.
look that up. I'm not sure. I mean, I bet we probably have, that we have so many.
I mean, I don't know.
shootings.
Because these are new. They're just coming to be in different
Well,
states.
Parkland happened in 2018, so that's.
But
7
we
years
just
ago.
passed it 2 years ago.
Right. But
So, I mean,
Florida's
different-
had it for how long?
Yeah, since I think right after Parkland.
Okay.
But up until 2 years ago, Madison County Schools didn't even have a safety resource, an SRO, a safety
Mhm.
resource officer at all the schools. They had one for all the elementary schools, and he traveled from school to school. I was like, what the heck is he
That's
going to
pretty silly.
do if there's a shooting at Madison Crossing and he's all the way at Madison Station?
Yeah, that's insane, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a solution to this that's just going to cost money that people don't want to spend. So that's my problem with it. So our solution is, hey, lunch lady, here's a gun, and then we'll save some money. And hey, if a kid gets killed or you accidentally shoot somebody, no big deal.
Look, I think they should let volunteers come in, grandparents, veterans, people who are retired. I think they should be able to take training, and if they want to volunteer their time, it's going to save the state money.
Right.
Save the federal government money, be able to come in and stand guard at those doors if they want to protect these kids.
But I mean, you just said earlier, like, is money like saving money the object here when you're talking about protecting kids?
It shouldn't be, but it is. Obviously, when it comes to lawmakers, in Mississippi, they fight over the education budget until the very last day of session.
Mhm.
They always want more, and it's never for this.
Right. I mean, yeah, and that's what my problem is. So, but their answer is let a group, they don't have to carry a gun, who overwhelmingly doesn't want to do it. Doesn't want to do that because that's not why they became a teacher for, was to be part of the
But
SWAT
nobody's
team.
making them.
It's a
Nobody's
select
making
few.
them. But if they want to, they can. I think that's a good thing. It's not the answer. It's not going to stop this altogether, but I feel safer knowing that we need more guns in schools.
See, I feel less safe with the teacher that has very limited training trying to repel an invasion and actually end up shooting a kid, or has a gun in the classroom, doesn't know how to use it, and ends up shooting the kid. I think there's a lot more
That's
danger
why
to
they
that.
have the training.
I mean, the 3-week course is going to, or the 1-week course, whatever. What is it? You know this. What's the training that they have
That
to go through?
that was for Shaun Tyndall to decide. So who knows what he came up with? We know how he.
I mean, they have to go to
he makes.
I mean, I went to Paris Island, Marine Corps Boot Camp, and MP school, and that was a long time ago. I mean, I'd have to go do a refresher on all this stuff. It's just, I wonder what their level of training is that they have to pass to carry a gun. I'm assuming it's something like a small little course.
I believe they have to keep it.
Is it like Hunter Ed or something? No,
we in the bill, the language said that it was up to Mississippi Department of Public Transportation to put the training program together.
And you just don't know what that is.
I don't know what Shaun Tyndall.
I'm gonna look that up because I'm interested in what it is, what the actual.
But I do believe they have to keep it. If I remember, this has been several years ago, so I'm just kind of rusty on the language. I believe, or what the language was that finally passed, they have to keep it on their person and somehow locked. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look and see exactly what it says.
Well, I'll try to look that up. We'll be back for the next short. It's gonna be a short segment because it's 12:53. While we finish up this conversation on Minnesota school shooting on the Lindsey Beckham Show. We'll be right back. And we're back for the last segment of the Lindsey Beckham Show, where we're talking about the Guardian Act in relation to the Minnesota school shooting yesterday. Guardian Act is something that allows teachers to opt in to carry weapons in schools because we are too cheap to actually fund security. And that's what we want to throw more stuff on teachers and give them $1,000 raise every 5 years or whatever it is. So anyway, Lindsay, I did look up some. We were talking about the requirements. What I'm seeing here is that
I want to say,
go ahead.
This is good. A designated school safety guardian is immune from civil liability for any action taken by the school safety guardian if the action in question occurs during the reasonable exercise of and within the course and scope of the designated school safety guardian's official duties. So all this kind of lays that all out, but I think there's protections in there to keep them from,
unless they, I pulled that too, unless they act negligently or outside the program scope. So that's part of it too. So there's always a loophole to be able to sue somebody in my experience. And there's apparently there's a designated in the statute that they have to have a valid firearms license. They have to complete annual training through a law enforcement training academy and be certified in both CPR and first aid and have some psychological screening. So there is that as well. And it goes a little further. There's a letter from the DPS commissioner that's included in here where, again, it's a license. There's an instructional course. They must pass a shooting proficiency. And there's actually, which is one thing I found interesting. I'm glad they added this, or at least the Department of Public Safety did, that there's a hand-to-hand defense course of some sort, which is more than I thought that they'd give them.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing, in my opinion.
They have to be somewhat physically fit to pass it, apparently, is what I'm reading here. So this is all, again, pulling from my robot machine over here.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Better than nothing. Better than
so that's
nothing.
what, and so there's some sort of thing. So I did ask how many people have actually opted into doing that, and it does not have that data, but that'd be interesting, Lindsay. You should find that out.
I don't know that Shaun Tyndall will take my calls, but I'll try.
And the next show, we will be right back tomorrow. See ya.